Jan, it's an honor to have you on
Thank
this
you.
show. Welcome to the Psychology Podcast. And for those people out there who watch this for the first times, the topic of this show is the deconstruction of admirable individuals. And I've met Jan Strandberg recently, who's the CEO of Acquire and 17,000 other companies, as I learned. Recently, I'm going to attempt to learn more about your story, the habits you acquired, the mindsets you developed, and your overall experiences on your current journey to life. So, welcome on the show.
Thank you, Daniel, for having me here. Awesome. Thank you for organizing this. I guess we can start.
Yes, before we start, let me shout out the sponsors of the show. Tropical Nomad Co-working Space. Thank you so much for making all of this happening. Also shout out to Ayu, who's the mastermind behind this brain. This show is also sponsored by the Behavior University, a marketplace where you can learn how to become your own therapist. And now let's start. Jan, how are you doing, man?
I'm good, man. It's been a stressful week, but all good. I'm happy to be here and happy to talk about my experiences.
It's an honor. For people who don't know you, what do you tell them usually what you do and who you are? Because I think it's hard to encapsulate somebody who has as many facets as you are.
Yeah, I would say I'm an entrepreneur in heart and mind. I've been doing growth hacking for the past 15 years. I own several different businesses. I've mostly done crypto for the past 10 years. So I'm a very OG. I'm a very huge believer. I don't know if the camera can see me, but that's a Bitcoin logo. Yeah. Well, right there. But yeah, crypto changed my life, and thanks to crypto, I've been investing into different startups. I've seen one of the top people in my industry, but I also learned a lot during my time doing different things. But it's definitely not been easy.
Yeah, I can relate. I feel like everybody who goes into entrepreneurship and thinks it's going to be walk in a park, because they always have to giggle up because I think about the thousands of hours of me in the office and nothing is working and people walking out of you. Okay, man. But before we go to your current business successes, walk us through, where did it all begin? What did you grow up like?
I'm actually a dropout by school. I was very bad at school. I got very much bullied when I was at school. So I mostly lived by myself from the age of, I would say, 11 until 16. And after that, I started doing a lot of sports. And thanks to sports, actually, I started getting a lot of friends. And thanks to friends, I then ended up doing something totally different from school. And I'm a big believer that no matter what, like if you're bad at school, doesn't matter. Life can still change if you work hard enough. And thanks to sports, it showed me you have to work hard to get some results.
What's your sport of choosing?
I was doing soccer at first.
Yeah.
And I got very badly injured when I was 19, so I had to stop. And I started doing Muay Thai. And actually Muay Thai, it totally changed my life and also saved my health and my mental fitness. Yeah.
You said you were figuring it out more or less by yourself from a very early age. Did I understand this correctly, that by the time you were 11, you were already in
Dude,
yeah. Can you tell that story?
Yes, for sure. So I actually had a very good computer teacher, and he was teaching me all about different hacking methods, different things, how to do websites and so forth. So as an early on, I started doing websites. Some of them failed, some of them not. But eventually that learned me how to deal with online traffic and how to do different things. It was very, very, very interesting.
So this teacher, who brought you in touch with technology.
Yeah.
What was his name?
Staffan.
Staffan.
Yeah. He was a very cool guy. But he eventually ended up in an asylum.
An asylum?
Yeah, which is a funny story. He was very into dark secrets and conspiracy theories and so forth. But yeah, it was very, I would say I would have a very different childhood than any other kids out there.
Yeah, I feel like some of the commonalities of the greatest teachers is there's always this brink of insanity towards like the Castamado kind of sense of Mike Tyson. And what is the biggest lesson you learned from this teacher of yours?
Don't give up. Don't give up. And be as curious as possible.
Mm-hmm.
to be honest, if you're curious, you will find a way of actually acquiring knowledge.
Yeah.
And if you cannot acquire knowledge, dude, that's the best lesson that you can get in life.
Yeah.
Be a kid forever.
Be a kid forever.
Yeah.
That's a great lesson. I sometimes as I've had the privilege of learning from so many extraordinary people over the last years in these conversations, I've noticed that we are not only shaped by what we have growing up, but also by what we don't have.
Yeah.
In a way where it's like, where does your hunger come from? Any particular experience in the first epoch of your life that you feel installed this uncommon drive within you that you obviously seem to have?
No, if you fail a lot or someone bullies you, you get like reminded of that every day, and you want to show them. And I think that showing off is eventually what drives you learning things and drives your hunger for like to be successful.
How did this story of you developing this install, like any particular initiation moment that comes to mind in a way where it's like, I remember, for instance, I was as skinny as fuck kid, and I got my ass whooped by this one dude every single time for almost a year.
Yeah.
And then I just had it. I went to the gym, and when I discovered like this method of getting stronger, I don't think I skipped going to the gym for 3 years in a row, and suddenly they left me alone. Like, what was the moment for you where something bad happened to you that later on turned out to be something working entirely in your favor in
I think soccer was the biggest thing. So I was a very bad soccer player until I was 13. And then I got the chance to be a goalkeeper. And as a goalkeeper, I was very small. But next to my neighbor was one of the top coaches in basically goalkeeping. And through him, I learned like, hey, the best lesson, just don't give up. Just keep trying, keep working on your skills. And those bullies that eventually bullied me, they actually started looking up to me because I was working so hard, and eventually that paid off. I became very good what I did.
Yeah. What do you think has sports taught you about life? Because as I become an entrepreneur, I am more and more fascinated by the idea that life is not just. I'm a former professional, semi-professional basketball player.
Oh, nice.
And it's
didn't know.
And
look at you, Daniel.
I would have guessed that this 2-meter tall dude played some hoops back in the day. But one of the things that influenced me the most is that life is not one game but a series of games, and that it's much better that you treat even your entrepreneurial experiences in a sense of sustainability and trading the people by forging long-term connection instead of taking what you can when you have the chance to. What do you think was something that sports taught you early on that is still helping you to be a good person?
Consistency.
Consistency, right?
Yeah, like it doesn't matter if you're bad or very talented. If you're not doing it every day, you can't be successful, or you can't get successful, or you can get successful, but it's mostly luck. And in life, I think you want to control more and more your luck, because luck makes your chances. So how do you get luck? It's with consistency and working hard.
Yeah.
Yeah. I keep repeating working hard, but that's something my dad learned me very early. And also everything I got so far is because of working very, very hard.
What kind of guy was he?
He was very strict,
yeah,
but very good. Like he was always supporting me. No matter what crazy ideas I got, he was always there. He's still alive, so I'm very happy. I fish with him a lot.
You fish with him a lot?
Yeah.
Amazing. If you would be on a boat with your father fishing right now, and I would whisper from afar, what's the biggest lessons you learned from your dad? What do you think would you tell him in this regard?
Be a leader. Being a leader, yeah. He was a very good leader, and he got a lot of people following him. And his charisma was basically how I got also more confident in what I do. But he also taught me, hey, like all people are not great. Like there's very evil people in this world. I noticed it myself, as probably you have a lot of experiences. But yeah, overcoming those difficulties will grow your character. And if you can grow your character, you will become a good leader. And that's why I respect my dad, because he was basically a very good leader.
Yeah.
Yeah, with all this charisma and things.
Any story that comes to mind where I feel leadership comes also from lack of leadership by developing how
Yeah.
not how not to do it, at least for me personally in a way.
Yeah.
How did the real world and your experiences taught you to be a good leader, and like in before you had your big breakthroughs in a way? Any favorite failure stories of the first chapter that you feel like helped you to become the guy that you are?
Good question. So when I was 20, 21, I started doing Muay Thai. I became so obsessed, so I was also a teacher. And through my teaching, I started noticing like, hey, you can actually change how people habits are.
Yeah.
And basically through the habits, oh man, it was a very teaching lesson, because someone that is very bad at something can become a very good person in just a matter of time. You just have to push him a little bit. And I
Yeah.
think that's also part of being a leader. If you can push people the right way, support them in the right way, dude, there's so much growth opportunities.
Yeah. In my last episode, I had self-made millionaire Arthur Kamasi on my podcast. I'm not sure if you know him. He's a great guy. He lives in a castle here in Bali, and his mission is to gamify companies. And he told me that it's so important as a leader to install a system of resurrection where you forgive the people you work with for the mistakes and give them the chance to grow and keep them as evolving people, so to say. And that spoke so much to me. I think sometimes you hold a grudge to your co-founder for eternity, and then you fall apart because you never have that reset button that every single video game has. What do you feel, speaking of habits, are some of the success patterns you found in great leaders? Because that's one of the things I'm curious about.
Obsession.
Obsession.
Yeah. I have, well, not funny story, but so one of my biggest startups that I did was Paxful. Paxful is the biggest peer-to-peer Bitcoin marketplace.
Yeah.
We started in 2015 and basically grew it to more than 4.5 million users, $20 billion in volume, and eventually we had 300 people working for us in different stages, different countries and so forth. But the leaders there, especially Ray, he was very charismatic. That's one.
What's his name?
Ray Youssef.
Ray Youssef. Okay.
Yeah, very famous guy. Nowadays, I think he's soon in jail, but that's another story. But he was very charismatic, so he got people around to support him. Second of all, he was always listening, and he was obsessed with his product. And I think I learned a lot from him, both positive and also the negative sides, like how to not be a leader and so forth. But his biggest take, like my biggest take, like support people as much as possible, build a story that people want to hear, or a narrative that resonates with a lot of people. Because if you can get people to resonate, or let's say you have a mission and vision, and it's very good, people will work for you, even for free.
Yeah.
And they will believe in what you're telling me, telling others. And I think that's very, if you're a good storyteller, charismatic, and you truly can service your people, you can go a long way.
How does it feel like to be part of a company that scales?
It's horrific. It's scary. It's scary and awesome at the same time. So we started with 4 people. Okay.
Yeah.
It took us 4.5 years to scale it up where it was. But every year or every time, every day, we were just focusing on this one mission. And eventually you have founders and other co-working people. And I think the first people that you hire to your, let's say, company, it's the most crucial part. Because those guys are going to follow you no matter what. Yeah, sorry.
You're good. They're going to follow you no matter what.
Yeah.
So building a strong... In the foxhole, you want to have strong people with you. Yeah,
kind of like a clan, kind of like a brotherhood or whatever you want to call it. Of course, there's girls, but we were mostly guys, and it was awesome. We did a lot of crazy shit that I regret and not regret, but it learned me a lot. Yeah,
I think we want to hear about this part where the regret is a little bit. What is some of the crazy shit that occurred within this company? Because I feel... as an entrepreneur who is working on his breakthrough right now, and this is actually one of the things that I want to investigate over this long educative journey that I've started with my podcast is, what does it actually feel like to have a breakthrough, both for the good and the bad? And what are some maybe crazy moments that happened there where you felt like, Jesus, this is... what was the biggest what the fuck moment for you while you were there?
I think it started when we started bringing people and the whole team to different events. So, for example, we went to Croatia. We took 200 people there to party. That's pretty crazy, and the company paid everything. We went to Tomorrowland 1 year, took everyone there, partied. We had this crazy shit that we never... Imagine having so much money that you don't know what to do with it, like with the company. That's when craziest shit start to happen, because you have no limits. You don't look at law anymore like you used to. And basically you can become a totally different person. And I think that's something I learned really early on, that money changes a lot of people when they get it. And I myself have always had the vision and mission, and basically my attitude is that no matter how much money you have to be yourself. Yeah. You have to be like religious. It's very important, because if you can't hold yourself down or hold yourself up and respect the values that you have in yourself, you will start breaking up. And that's what I saw with Paxful. Like, founders went absolutely crazy. Basically everyone got sued. Like, we were fighting with each other. A lot of legal bills, a lot of sad stories. Firing people that you didn't like just because the founder didn't like it. You know, like, it just becomes absolutely a shit show.
A shit show.
Yeah.
Do you think power corrupts, and money corrupts?
Absolutely.
Tell us. I feel one of the things I'm interested too about is the moment where you have your first big ass paycheck, in a way. What was that moment like for you, and how much was it, if you may tell? And
I won't say numbers.
Okay, cool. Cool. It was worth a try though, for the views.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so this was in 2016 and a half. Yeah, half a year of... I was 1.5 years in Paxful. I got my first big bonus. And that moment, like, when you understand, like, hey, you made it. That's the craziest feeling ever, because you can go to the shop, buy anything what you want. You can go to whatever trip that you want. You have way more possibilities than, let's say, normal people have. But that also messes you up so badly, because you're not emotionally anymore, like, caring. You're not what's the word when you're not emotionally caring for others? You're not sympathetic anymore.
You're not empathic anymore.
Yeah, you become self-eager, self-egoistic.
Pride grows in proportion.
And that I noticed that early on, so I was quite like, okay, hey, I need to calm down. I gave a lot of money away. I built 2 schools in Africa. I gave my family also some money. Yeah, I wasn't self-serving. But you can go the other way, totally. You can be like, okay, I got this money, I'm going to just serve myself.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. But the answer is, it's a very great feeling when you got the money. Is it worth it or is it not? I would say afterwards, like, money is just a vehicle. Yeah. You either have it or you not, but you will eventually get it during your lifetime as much as you want. You just have to be very wise how to spend it or how you look at it. For me, money is just it's just a vehicle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When you said the moment where you felt I've made it, if you would put a sum on that, not for yourself, but generally, at one point do you feel like a person can say that to himself in a way?
You mean a word or something else?
When are you rich?
When are you rich?
Or when did you made it in a way? So it's like
a number.
Yeah.
I mean, I would say when you have more than $1 million liquid.
Liquid, yeah.
Not illiquid.
So not somebody who gives himself an revelation that his company's worth several million, like so many else do. Okay.
No.
Okay. If you would teach a 25-year-old entrepreneur from scratch how to be a millionaire, what would be the first consulting session with you about?
What do you love? That's the first thing. Don't do something that you don't like. Because you have to be passionate, right? You have
Yeah.
to be passionate what you do. If you go to a work that you're not passionate about, you will notice it. You will be all this bad energy will come against you eventually, and that will then you will not make. You can make it, but it's not good. It's not
Yeah.
like you will not have the feeling that hey, I actually made some really really awesome things.
Yeah.
So first session, understand what's your passion. Second of all, make a plan what you're gonna do for it.
How's your plan? How would that plan look like after the person figured out what their passion is, what path feels meaningful to them? Because it's, I think you're so you hit it so right on the spot. Because I always felt like when work feels like play, you have such a competitive advantage
Yeah.
for those who have to drag themselves there. Because when the money isn't coming anymore, you can just push on because you love it and you feel like you're following your personal path of optimal development while the other person drops out in a way. So after they discovered this for themselves, when you say make a plan, how would you do this?
Yeah, that's a good question. But I would say like, as long as you're curious of what you're doing, because curiosity makes you think, makes you learn, makes you do all these other things. Like I'm still curious about what I do with marketing and other passionate things, and I think that's why I'm still working in crypto. A, B, I'm still successful and getting more and more like opportunities that was not there. If I would be like, hey, I just want to make a lot of money.
Yeah.
I don't think I would get the opportunities, and I don't think I would be here talking to you. But about the plan, okay?
Yeah, yeah.
This is a long story. I'm sorry.
Please,
Yeah.
please.
So as I was 19, I got into very trouble. I was playing poker as a profession.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm a very good with photo memories and so forth.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, I had an event that made me gamble all my money away.
Yeah.
It made me go into very bad circles. And for 2 years, I went into a very bad, like super bad situation. I literally almost died, but I'm not going to speak about that. After it, I had to rebuild everything. I had to be like, what am I going to do with my life? Because I was looking at myself and I was a failure in my eyes. Like, hey, I didn't go to school. I didn't know what to do. I'm 20, 21. Like, hell, like there's so many opportunities. And in Finnish society, I'm from Finland. If you don't have an education, you basically have no opportunities. You can't get in that, sweet 6-figure sum or plus 5 figures, whatever. Very hard. So I started Muay Thai. I started gathering what I like, which is sports. I started respecting my body more and more. Eventually, I went to Thailand to fight as a profession.
Really?
Yeah, I was there fighting. I did a video blog about it. And I got really lucky because that video blog went kind of viral. And one girl there in Finland actually spotted it. And her name was Mari. And Mari was basically the top marketing girl in whole Finland.
What is her full name?
Luukkanen. He's in Icebreaker VC nowadays. He's
Mari Luukkanen.
Yeah.
Okay.
She's very well known Finnish girl entrepreneur.
Yeah.
But there was one problem that she had. So I was good at presenting myself. I was good at talking and so forth, but I didn't have that marketing skills or whatever. I was very good, but just basics, like I was not good. So she hit me up. I'm in Thailand and she's like, hey, I like what you do. We should sit down when you're back. And I have an offer for you. I was like, okay, like, what is this? What am I going to do? I came back, we sit down, and she's like, hey, you want to be my apprentice, but for being my apprentice, you have to work for 6 to 1 year for free. So I was, back then I had office work also. I was doing, I was an insurance clerk, taking phone calls every day, 100 phone calls a day. It was horrible. And she was like, okay, I'm going to learn you everything, but you have to work your ass off. And you can't pick your clients. You can't pick your clients. So what does it mean in marketing? It means that you can have everything. And my first clients were actually like single moms It was single mom blog network that I had to market and teach them how to do SEO and other stuff. And then I had one of the biggest gay diaries in whole Finland. So Mari had one problem. She's a small girl, and back then she's also LGBT lesbian. And you could not be in Finland back then and go to big meetings because unfortunately big meetings were mostly big guys, mostly men.
Yeah.
You know, like she couldn't represent herself. What does it mean? It means that you can't get bigger gigs. So she basically hired me. I was following her every move, going to meetings, just studying this SEO. What is it? How do I do it? So forth. It took me 4 months. I was making way more money than in my normal job.
Yeah.
It took me 8 months, and I was like in a very good price category. And from then on, it was just going up. It was very awesome, but again, like marketing was always my passion, and second of all, like I was working my ass off.
Yeah.
2 jobs, basically, and one was free, one was getting my rent paid.
What fascinating story. So really you hit rock bottom after you pocket all your money away, you get in some troublesome circles.
Yeah.
Then you start fighting, and then a teacher appears.
Yeah.
Who takes you on a journey that feels like it's still not entirely over.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
That is fascinating. What's the biggest lesson you learned from her, from this marketing guru that you met?
Be curious.
Really?
And test as much as possible.
Yeah.
You know, like we did everything. We did everything from having one of the biggest let's say porn websites in Nordic, to doing very basic shit like serving animal products or something else, serving pharmacies.
Yeah.
Dude, being curious and just trying out things. That's the biggest learn from her.
What is a question, like I told you about, I'm currently building a company called Eternity that is focused on creating avatars of great people such as yourself.
Yeah.
If somebody would rent, so to say, your avatar in order to get expert consultations while you on your many business adventures around the world, what question would you suggest that person ask you in order to go on the right journey in regards to learning about marketing? Because for me personally, I feel it's very hard to come up with the right question if you haven't conceptualized the problem properly enough in a way. So what do you think is a question that somebody who wants to become a great marketer for his business should ask?
What books should I read?
What books should I read?
What podcasts to listen? No, actually, I think the biggest thing is content.
Okay.
If you can produce content, you are God. You basically can do whatever you want in whatever niche, because every niche needs content. So maybe my biggest question for myself would be like, hey, pick me a niche that produces the most money. If you are a new entrepreneur and you wanna get into some hardcore shit.
Well, that is amazing. If you would travel back in time, though, you just lost all your money.
Yeah.
You get into dark circles.
Yeah.
You said you almost lost your life.
Yeah.
I feel it's one of the things that separates people who are successful and who endure and those who perish along the way is those who continue walking even though they can't see something meaningful at the horizon. If you would have a message for people who are at the spot that you are on back there, but who don't see how their life will be put together, what would you tell them if you can put a hand on their shoulder and say something that maybe helps them to?
I think there's no. He's like, when you look backwards, it's very stupid. You can't change it, right? Like the biggest things that people make or mistakes they do when they're very in a bad shape or in bad environment is they look back, and the back you can't change, but what you can change is the future. So every day you have a new possibility to do something new or learn something new. Okay, if you have the possibility to learn something new, you have probably a possibility to actually succeed in something that you really like. So I would say if you're in a bad shape and let's say you're very depressed and so forth, take a day off and think about what you can do tomorrow. and go one day at a time. One day at a time.
Yeah.
Don't think too far away, just one day at a time. And search for your inner kid. Because I think, okay, I work in finance nowadays. With very hardcore people. And I don't meet a lot of people that have that kid anymore. And I think it's very a shame because that kid is the curiosity. It's the thing that wants to make you learn things. And if you lose it, oh man, oh boy, you're in trouble.
Yeah. Couldn't agree more. And the kid is also the visionary, I noticed.
Yeah.
You know, and it's when I grew up, one of the things teachers always told me was stop being in your head so much. Dreams will never put food on your table. And looking forward, like being a visionary is exactly what I make my money with in a way. What do you feel was something that you had to unlearn in order to become successful? Because it's not only like...
Good question.
Yeah, it's one of the reasons why I started these interviews was not only because what I wanted to get to know, but also I wanted to figure out how to be a little bit less stupid every single day. So what do you feel is like, for you personally, like...
I was very naive, to be honest. Yeah, I would say like don't trust everything what people say. Don't trust these get rich gurus. It's not like that. Like once you understand that, you can start filtering out who are the real people in the room, because once you can interact with real people, you actually get that connection. If you get that connection, you can open doors, right? So I would say like, hey. Don't be stupidly naive and think that everyone in the whole world thinks that you are special or something else. And second of all, people offer a lot of bullshit things.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would say I have a lot of naivety in me.
Yeah.
Like I try to see the best in people, and sometimes I'm so enamored by the dreams that I have that I just want it to happen so very badly. So when I see that one person who says, I want to make it happen, I want to believe it.
Yeah.
I ignore red flags.
Yeah.
You know, it's like that lonely person who's lonely for so long time, and then they just pick somebody and they forgot.
I hate it.
Well, how did you burn your fingers that helped you to acquire this wisdom of being... how did you become wise instead of naive? Any story that comes to mind in regards to...
2016. Yeah, 2016 and 2017, we did a OTC deal in Italy for 100 BTC. Okay.
How much money is that for people who don't know?
It was back then 120,000, 150,000. For me, it was a lot of money.
Yeah.
I trusted a person there, a business client. I thought that this client is really real. He took us to fancy dinners. He took us, like, he had Rolexes and other things. Like, he seemed like a trustworthy person. Okay. Then when the deal was supposed to happen, we go into a table and he has a bunch of money. And eventually what happened, he gave us fake 500 euro things, and we could not check it out. And that's when I learned, like, don't be naive. Like, everyone tries to somehow get a cut from you or tries to fuck you over. You have to be very on point with your due diligence. And, you know, despite I learned that, I was investing last year in a lot of different startups, in crypto especially, and look at the market now. Most of them are dead. Most of them are like in the ground. Again, sometimes I'm still naive, thinking that, hey, this is gonna produce billions or whatever, but it's not the case.
Fascinating story. That guy gave you a fake $500 for dollar bills.
Yes.
What was the moment of awakening for you? Because I feel I've had many moments in my life where I had people who I thought were good.
Yeah.
Turned out to be the worst individuals I ever met. And I think there's something about that moment where the naivety of yours dies, where you learn something in the most painful way useful so that you never forget it. What was the moment like where you came to senses that you've met... It
was awful, man. So we did the deal, we got the transfer done, we get the money. We were just quickly, because we were naive, we were just quickly looking at the cash. And it looked very great. It looked like real awesome, like 500 euro bills. the problem was that every single one had the same ID number. And that's when I was like, oh God, like, fuck. Like, I just lost $100,000.
Yeah.
And back then for me, that was a lot of money. And
Yeah.
it is still a lot of money,
Yeah.
you know, but still, I recovered from that. It took me
How much is one on a Bitcoin now?
26,000. Oh, sorry. 2.6 million, I think.
Yeah, so it is still a lot of
Yeah.
money, a lot of money. I feel it is. I recently fell in love with the idea that we are always one person away from changing our lives. I like that idea a lot.
Okay.
Thinking about what you just shared me, we are also just one person away
getting
from
fucked.
to getting fucked. If you would talk to people who are maybe not as wise and battle tested as you are, and you would give them some red flags that would help them to protect themselves from making a deal with the devil, what would you tell them in a way?
I
Some
think the
OG
easiest
advice.
Yeah, the easiest way, too good to be true deals. They're usually very red flags. Like, unfortunately in life and unfortunately in this world, those deals are not good. There's always a catch. There's always something behind it, and it's always serving someone. You know, in crypto we call, like, let's say I invest in a good project. I got it from a good friend. Okay, I trust him. Let's say I got another project and this is a VC or someone else. Now, I don't know if I'm exit liquidity for this guy, you know? And that's when you work in finance, you start to understand these different mentalities and you start to look at people like, okay, what's the real thing behind your need? Let's say like this.
Yeah.
And if you find out, like, I think that's very powerful. But yeah, too good to be true deals, they're usually very red flags.
Yeah. I had an image in front of my hand. Do you know anglerfishes? They are like fishes. They have like this shiny thing in front of them. They attract like
In the dark water.
The deep sea
Yeah.
fish. I think they're sea devils is what they are called or something like this. But then when you get close, they look as monsters as you can. And I feel like sometimes when you meet malevolent individuals in the business or in the private world, it is if something shiny is being dangled in front of them, be careful to act unless you've tested how this person will treat you if you don't give them what they want, because only then you can see their real face, and so to say, in a way. Who was the most successful person or the most admired person you ever worked with, like, or like some of the legends you encountered on your legendary journey?
Yeah, I think at Paxful I had a lot of people that were fantastic. Mostly they were Estonians, most of them were Russians. But for me, coming from Finland, I had very little respect at first against them because we had some a little bit fights before. But after working with Paxful, seeing some of the most professional people there, oh man, it was very inspiring. And especially when I had 65 people on my marketing team eventually, and I knew them all, and they had all their different superpowers. It was very awesome to see them like, hey, going full ahead with different problems, solving them, and being like, hey, we got this. Like that was very good. Yeah. But yeah, mostly in Paxful, I met a lot of people. There's one entrepreneur that I look upon a lot. He's in crypto, and he's been a while for, I don't know, from I think 2015, 2016, and he's still a close friend. I won't name him. He doesn't want any. He doesn't want any publicity, but
Mr. X, we call him.
Yeah, but he is absolutely insanely good what he does.
Yeah.
Both on the entrepreneurship, family life, and overall, like being in a habit of good feelings and good vibes.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. In a sense of superpowers, you've had an incredible marketing below you. What is your superpower? Yeah.
Creativity.
Yeah. Huh.
But I'm not good with, so I'm left-handed, first of all.
Yeah.
So I have very hard time to write anything.
Yeah.
I have very hard to paint anything. I'm not like marketing-wise, like design-wise, very good. But where I'm really good at is looking at the big picture and understanding people's needs and looking where people are not looking. That's like one reason I'm still far ahead like other people is because I can look very far away, and second of all, I understand like what the marketing aspect of having a business.
Yeah.
And I failed so many times, you know. In 2019, I was trying to make a weed business. And I don't know if your audience know what SEO is, search engine optimization.
Yeah.
It's basically how when people write something in Google search, your site is supposed to be number one.
Yes.
Okay, with Paxful, if you still Google it, buy Bitcoin or sell Bitcoin, Paxful is still there, top 3, top 4. That's like very, very amazing. Okay, with Nugnest, which was my weed startup, I was trying to do the same thing with strains. So a lot of people, they search for different strains, weed strains and so forth. And if you could rank with these different strains, you would get a lot of traffic, and you could then sell that traffic into the ads. I spent more than, let's say, $250,000, $300,000 on devs that basically failed. I was trying to launch it myself. I failed so badly. Burnt a lot of bridges also. It was very bad experience, but I learned again. I learned again that, hey, I was too confident with my money. I thought that, hey, if you have money, you can fix everything, right? Mm-hmm. That's not the case. That's absolutely not the case. Unfortunately, I still work with a lot of very rich people, and they are still very smart. They don't do dumb decisions. And whoever got the idea that, hey, like there's a lot of dumb money in this world, that's not really true.
If there is, please show me where
or the
where
dumb money is people like I was, like that just had their success, just were on top of the world, had no failures in a while. That's the most dangerous time, because then your ego is way up, your due diligence is way down, and you're just thinking like, hey, I can do everything. I just push money. Yeah. But nope, no, that was bad.
You were talking about burning bridges.
Yeah.
I feel one of the things that has been very painful for me personally is, as somewhat naive, visionary.
Yeah.
I believe in things, and I believe they will succeed. So when I talk other people into the dreams that I have, and sometimes they don't work, it's not only that I lose my time, but also other people as well, right?
Yeah.
How did you find a way to establish a climate of transparency while also collaborating with other people without burning bridges along the way in regards to your projects in a way? Because I feel like sometimes when you start something bold and new and courageous, there's risk involved, but you still need other people to help. Does that question make any sense? I feel like I'm blathering around.
Maybe you can simplify it.
How do you sustain meaningful relationships while also entering risky business endeavors where you charter into unknown territory?
Be as transparent as possible.
Okay.
Yeah. Don't have high expectations. And if you have a new business partner that you don't know, that's when troubles comes the most, because he has different views, you have different views. You haven't really communicated like how things are.
Yeah.
For example, with Paxful, when we started, we were all working together in one room constantly. We were going to gym constantly. We were doing parties together constantly. We had this connection. And I think when you don't have the connection and you have someone new that you work with, you have to be more and more transparent. Like communication overall, it needs to be there. But yeah, even with Acquirified, which I do now, like we had a case where unfortunately one of our co-founders had to go. Like he was not fair. He was not there, and it's still hard. It's never an easy situation to either fire someone or have that have that hard conversation where you actually like, hey, I don't know what you're doing here. Like, come on, like you've been working here for almost 6 months and nothing's moving on your part. Like, hey, you know, it's never easy. And I had to fire many people in my life. It's sometimes it can be an easy conversation because the other guy knows, but there are situations where the other guy is like, hey, why me? Like, what have I done?
Yeah. How do you break up with a co-founder?
how do you break up with the co-founder?
And maybe as a follow-up question, how do you not do it?
I think there's many ways. Like for example, with Paxful in the end times, like it was just fighting, egos clashing. When you work with someone for 4.5 years, or let's say 5, 6, it's like being in a relationship, right? Like some things that were fun at first, you start to look at and being, why are you doing that? I think when a co-founder can change and adapt, because you have different stages in startup. You have first the early stage when you have to be constantly there. You have middle stage where you have to start thinking strategically, like what are you gonna do? And late stage is then like being a representative. Like, hey, you have to go and talk. Yeah, you're not that on hand anymore because you have all the other workers.
Yeah.
And I think for different stages, co-founders need to communicate in different ways, or they need to work in different ways. Okay, how do you part ways with the co-founder? You either have that conversation very straight, be like, hey, this doesn't work, and you try to find a solution that works for both. You either give a little bit equity, tokens, or whatever you can offer, or you actually have a legal case, which have also been part of my journey here, you know. And legal cases are not fun. It's like one of my cases just ended, and it started 2020.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it's never good. And entrepreneurs, they don't realize this, but there's a lot of legalities when you start to talk about big money. Like there's always sharks. There's always someone that is trying to get the piece of your pie, you know. Yeah. Not fun.
You've mentioned something beautiful, even though like it ended in a blow with the startup of yours that scaled. What does it have to be like in the foxhole of a company before it scales? I feel like it's this brotherhood that you described, where that gives each of them the security to do what they do best by knowing that they can count on each other. At least I have this romanticized vision that I want to have like almost like crusaders with me, where we go and conquer the world.
Yes. Yes.
You know, how would you describe it? That then in order to find that, or what is necessary in order to create such a strong core unit of almost like prophetic individuals who believe in the company, who are loyal to each other and move forward?
Have a mission that everyone relates to. You know, if you have a mission that me and you can look upon, and despite we get all that hardship, all that no's, we might have no product market fit for a year, and just getting VCs to say, no, this is not good, this is not good. Get those negative emails. But you have someone there that is truly believing in the mission. Oh man, that's a very valuable partner to have, because there's not a lot of partners like that. And sometimes, if you don't have it, you see a lot of startups fail. And unfortunately, like 9 out of 10 startups usually fail. Yeah. They don't either find a product market fit, there's internally something that is clashing, or they just run out of money.
Yeah.
Like, be ready to fail. I would say, like, be ready to fail together. And you see people's character really when they fail. Because once you fail 1, 2, or 3 times, and you can get over it and build something from scratch again, that's the people I like to do business with. Because failure learns every time something new. Like people think you have to live a perfect life. No, like failures basically give you access to a stronger behavior, charisma that you need. And eventually when you have the charisma, you can go to every VC, every investor and be like, hey, this is why you have to invest in me. This is who I am. I know what I want. And from an investor point of view, if you're very good with talking and presenting yourself, dude, there's so much money to be basically investor will invest you.
Yeah,
does that make sense? Sorry.
It makes perfect sense. And I discovered this recently, how important stories are. I for a while felt kind of useless being an author in an age where
Yeah.
ChatGPT can write you like articles in the snap of a finger and having a podcast, something like this. But I just noticed that we are narrative creatures.
Yeah.
And if you don't know what is the core mission in its essence is a story.
Yeah.
Here we are. These are the dragons that we have to defeat. These are the knights. This is where we want to go. This is why it is necessary to go there. If you don't have that, I think you don't pick up the person in front of you and enchant them and take them in your dream with you where you need to go in a way. What was your highest moment your proudest moment as an entrepreneur?
Good question.
Under your own matrix.
Yeah. I would say like it's not a moment. It's like being able to live the life I want. Being free, being here in Bali, being able to travel when I want, being able to sustain myself, my family, my girlfriend, like all that's more important for me than anything else, because I want to be control of my own life. I don't want the state to come and get me, or choosing my own way of life. I think that's the most important thing. Like if you're an entrepreneur and you're a nomad, good for you. Like I think you made it.
Yeah, that was like a moment for me recently where I relate to you, where I just know that I was walking here in Bali under a full moon outside, and I realized and I asked myself casually, where do I want to go next?
Yeah.
To learn, and I was like, how lucky I am that I can ask these questions, and how shitty it must be to be in a place where you're not in charge of your own destiny, so to say. If we would redo the Matrix movie and you would play Morpheus and you would teach other people how to escape the Matrix, so to say, what do you think is the first thing that...
Money is just a vehicle.
Interesting.
Money is just a vehicle. You either have it, you can get it infinitely. There's always possibilities. It's all about you. I think once you realize that, hey, take a chance, jump out, and just do something, you will eventually get there. Yeah. No matter what. I truly believe in energies. I truly believe in like there's some higher being that basically keeps you in place and shows you different paths.
Yeah.
I think if you can touch your inner child, listen to it, and actually like, okay, like this path sounds very reasonable. It has a lot of risk, but at least if I do it, I get experience, and despite I fail, it's something that I wanted to do.
I love this notion. Yesterday, Apple released a couple of new products. Did you watch it?
Yeah.
You did. I watched it. This is when I realized
it was horrible.
Jeez, what is your take on it? And as a follow-up question, as a visionary yourself, where is the world moving in regards to crypto and technology?
Yeah. First of all, it was okay. So Apple got the glasses, VR glasses now. It's kind of interesting because Meta, which is Facebook, they just abandoned their Meta narrative. Yeah. And now Apple is coming out and be like, hey, we need this VR, we need this AR. This is going to be the new shit. Me, myself, I don't find it very innovative, if that makes sense. $3,500 for glasses that you wear is totally, I don't know, insane. But I see the potential. I see that we are constantly going more and more online with different things. Mm-hmm. Education is one that is going to be distributed. Like paying $150,000 for education does not make sense. You can learn all that in YouTube. And I think that education model that we have, it has to change. It just has to. How do I see the future? I'm very bullish on AI, but I'm very scared. I'm scared because we are dealing with something that you can't really control. We think that we can control it, but we can't. I can literally take an open database or open AI, not open AI, but like LLM model to my computer, teaches whatever I want, and I can be a very bad actor. And that makes that bad actor very powerful. And that's not been the possibility before. So I'm very curious where we go, and very scared. But at the same time, I feel like you wrote the books before, right?
Yeah.
So I think like tangible items that you can actually touch, they will become more and more valuable because you don't know what's real anymore.
Yes.
Like it's
Yeah.
it's absolutely insane. Okay, so Apple, I think it was kind of very bad launch. I think the narrative that they had, the time they put into that machine it's not gonna be worth it. But hey, with every iPhone, there's a lot of haters, and they still sell it.
As one of the best marketers in the world, if I would use my Eternity I Am a company to resurrect Steve Jobs, and he's fully conscious and has all the memories that he had from back then.
Yeah.
And you would tell him what has become of Apple. What would be the conversation be like between the two of you? What would you talk with Steve Jobs about?
I would say your creativity has gone away, and you're actually playing it safe with this company, which is the right move for Apple. Apple is one of the biggest companies in the whole world, right? I don't know their sales numbers, but they sell shit ton of MacBooks and other Appleware.
Yeah.
But I think their creativity is not there anymore, and I think they don't take risks that they should.
What do you think would Steve Jobs say when he's looking at how they have evolved?
He would not be happy. No, I think Steve was a product person.
Yeah.
Like he was more into product than marketing itself. Yeah. Like he was all about like, let's build the best Macintosh. Like let's put the best computer that everyone can use.
Yeah.
Do you feel yourself that yesterday's show or these glasses, for example, is something that you will or other people will use all around the world?
I am biased on this. I'm biased because my own technology fits perfectly into this.
Yeah.
Because I wanted to, as mentioned, with the naivety.
Yeah.
In a way, because what I'm building is I try to build a convergence between the spiritual and the digital world. So when you, instead of talking to, like reading a great book, you can see the author in front of him and talk with him and ask him questions, and then he can take you on this journey to show you where he learned what he learned. And for this, it's actually, I feel like in potential could be something really amazing for the educational sector. But in reality, would I put LED screens on my fucking face for 12 hours? I don't see that happening anytime soon. And I also don't. It will be weird. Everybody looks like a scuba diver tomorrow, and it has that on for God only knows how many hours.
You look like a mosquito with them. It's kind of
funny. Mosquito here, man. Say, okay, man. Who's a controversial figure right now in the world you look up to, you like?
Elon Musk.
Elon Musk. What is your take on Elon Musk?
He's very weird.
He's very weird, right?
But he's very he's very good at marketing. He understands like how to build a narrative, how to lead on that narrative, and how to even push that narrative forward.
Yeah.
You know? And there's not a lot of like, despite there's a lot of negativity around him, it goes like there's more positivity than negativity, and I think if you can do that in that large scale, you are very good. You are very good.
What do you think we can learn from Elon Musk?
Good question. I think one of the biggest things he's good at is his way of presenting very complex problems in a very simple ways.
Yeah.
And I think that's something that every entrepreneur should be learning. Like, hey, you have this complex thing. Simplify it as much as possible so everyone can understand it, and then have a mission that basically you can do.
I'm asking this because I want to have advice for myself.
Yeah.
Because I feel I am the worst marketing person.
You're not. I'm still here.
In the what? Yes. Nobody knows why. But no, I'm kidding. Why do you think is Tesla successful? Because it's. I heard that. Man, everybody knows Elon, and everybody's on board with what they're doing, and I feel like they will not run out of funding anytime soon. And it's like, what do you feel is about their marketing unique, and what do you think is some marketing advice you would have for somebody who hasn't found the market fit yet? Okay,
so there's one thing that Steve and Elon are very good at, and what they focus on, and that's product.
Yeah.
They're very, very into product. And as you know, Tesla back in the days almost went bankrupt. They had 3 days until They were basically totally bankrupt.
Yeah.
But how Elon Musk then eventually saved that
Yeah.
was with showing a product that is way beyond anyone else and having a narrative that was not popular back then, which was the green narrative. Like, hey, electric car, wow, let's all build electric cars. And nowadays, unfortunately, we all know that, hey, you need a lot of cobalt, you need a lot of different things from Africa,
Yeah.
and it's not sustainable at all.
Yeah. It's
yeah, but Steve was the same kind. Like, hey, he was very good at presenting, hey, this is the new Macintosh, this is the new features, wow, let's build something amazing. And he got a lot of people behind him.
Yeah.
Elon Musk, same shit. Published Tesla, published the car, and people were like, oh. He knew what niche he was targeting very well.
Yeah.
And I think that's something that all entrepreneurs are missing. Like, you don't know your audience enough. You don't know who your product market fit will be. You know, who is your customer? Daniel, who is your customer?
For me personally?
Yeah.
Well, it recounts on the many different businesses they have. For Eternity AI, it is education and business owners who are best-selling authors. Like, I want to help them to... I want to create a new book, so to say, as a vehicle to transfer knowledge in a more sophisticated way. For this podcast, I think mostly entrepreneurs and students listen to this who want to embark on their personal journey of betterment in a way. And the most important audience of this podcast is myself. Because I listen to it and like, Jesus, how do you do this? So I think that's also something that is important to me. Bad marketing advice that is out there.
Bad marketing advice that is out there. Every get-rich kid out there is absolutely wrong.
Yes.
Totally. Content is still king. I think if you're a very good growth hacker, thinking outside of the box, you can basically do whatever you want with whatever product. Okay, what does it mean? It means that you have to leverage automation. You have to leverage your social proofs as much as possible, because everything starts with basically search. This is something that is so simple, but people don't understand. Everything starts with the search from your customer point of view. Okay, if I come here, I look your name up, right? Okay, what happens then? I look from the search, what are the top pages? I look like, who are you? What's this guys and so forth. If you can dominate search and dominate your social presence, you're gonna get so much customers and money. Okay, what's a bad advice?
Yeah,
spending money without knowing your customers, nor understanding, okay, like what is actually converting. Because I spent probably tens of millions of dollars in marketing so far with Paxful.
Yeah.
And the biggest problem that I had was to justify, why did I spend this marketing?
Yeah.
You know? And that's something that a lot of entrepreneurs like miss. Like, they just we have a 50K marketing budget, we're going to spend it on PR. Okay, what are you trying to leverage?
Yeah.
What's your plan?
Yeah.
If you don't have a plan, you're just spending without any consensus.
Yeah. I've noticed that in my years as a solo entrepreneur, before I learned from people who help me more to think like a corporate structure, you really miss that challenge.
Yeah.
Why are you doing? What are you doing? Why are you doing this? And have you tested this? I think with the absence of it, it's I don't know. You're playing a very weird game with your own resources and you're burning yourself up. If you would imagine as an entrepreneur, he has $0 in a month.
What?
$0 in the bank.
Okay.
He wants to build a marketing campaign for himself, and he wants to make $10,000 in 3 months.
Okay.
How would you teach him?
Automation and scraping. Okay, so people that you don't know what scraping is, you can basically scrape all your competitors' Instagram followers and their emails. You can then build a lookalike audience, or you can even go further and match them on Twitter and Facebook and on LinkedIn, and you can start sending them basically outreach messages or emails or whatever. Now you have zero basically marketing budget.
Yeah.
And second of all, you can use ChatGPT to do a content plan, and with content you can do a lot of different things. I actually, so here's the cool stuff that I did. So I have a friend who does ice baths here in Bali.
Yeah.
He's very well known, and there's only 7 companies or 8 companies in the whole world that are doing ice baths, but it's a growing business. And I was thinking like, hey, I wanna help him out a little bit and see what I can do. What I did, I'm very good at SEO, so I produced 2,000 articles with AI. I published them, and I wanted to see if Google actually can index them right away. Okay, 2 weeks on, I'm getting a lot of clicks, and the blog website is just blogs, nothing else. I spent so far maybe $25, and probably in 1 month or 2 months I will outrank everyone else, and I will have an ice plunge business that is very successful.
Okay.
Boom.
Please help me over here. So you can actually write mass content with AI.
Yes.
And Google will not punish the living daylights out of you.
Yes.
That is transformational. In a way.
So imagine like where I want to go with AI. So I own a AI website called aitooltracker.com.
Yeah.
And it's a AI directory with the latest AI tools and so forth. It's kind of like a...
I know that website actually.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, there you go.
Yeah. A friend of mine sent it to me. And I got overwhelmed because it's like it felt me like all the things I don't know. Anyway, but it's amazing.
Okay, so I come from a growth hacking background. Like I said, my biggest skill is to look big. To look different creative ways to grow your companies with 0 budgets and so forth. AI for me at the moment is like I have to start thinking like, okay, should I focus on actually just doing this full time, or should I still do my other 7, 8 different businesses? Because for me, I can now launch everything myself without any problems.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy.
How does it feel to be self-sustainable to the degree that you are? Because I think one of the parts that is essential to being a free man is the ability to fish whenever you're hungry.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I feel like technology and entrepreneurship, one of the greatest things it has given me is the freedom to call my own moves and to invest into what I feel is meaningful to me and write the myth of my life in the way I see it fit in a way. What does it give you that the world is conspiring on your behalf almost?
No, I feel free. I feel free. I feel very, very lucky where I am in a way, but I'm very thankful. And I try to help as many people as possible. You know, like I'm an entrepreneur that always is there answering questions. I'm trying to learn people. I might do my own course at some point just to learn people like, hey, you don't need to have a budget to actually make a successful launch or anything else.
Yeah.
You can have a very basic MVP product and see if, okay, is this a product market fit? If yes, get money.
Yeah.
You know, like.
But if no, you can turn the keys and it's do something else maybe with your time.
Yeah, well, I do sports a lot. I do mental training. I try to do as much as possible outside of the work because I do so many calls a day. It's not fun.
Yeah, I can imagine. What was one thing you learned from back in the days when you had to take all these shitty calls in a day? Because one of the things I found with very successful people is they all had a shitty sales job at some point, whether it was door-to-door sales or walking in a call center or something like this. What is like did you learn from this, and how did you become a good salesperson? So
Listening.
Listening.
Yeah, sales is all about listening. Okay, if I can listen, understand what is your pain point, I can probably sell that pain point. Understand like, okay, hey, Daniel wants to grow his podcast business. Okay, what can I offer him? Like, what is your problem at the moment? And then from there, I can start figuring out, okay, what can I sell you?
Yeah.
But yeah, listening is one of the most powerful things you can do. And it's the same thing. You go into a room with a bunch of VCs, investors, very big guys. If you can listen, you have a very good advantage.
Yeah.
Because you're not self-serving yourself. You're just in the moment understanding, okay,
Yeah.
this is you.
I noticed it recently where for some reason, I abandoned all the lessons that I learned from my private practice and working in therapy with people, which is all about listening and asking the right questions. And from sales, that when I started fundraising, that I thought I just had to show them my pitch deck and tell them about me and telling.
Yeah.
And I realized you don't even know what story the other person is involved in and how you can invite them on this adventure while also helping them to write their own life story in the most beautiful way possible. Tell us about Acquire FI and maybe give us some advice on fundraising.
Yeah.
And maybe tell us about your current projects before we move to the last segment of the interview.
Yeah, for sure. I can give you a little background, like how Acquirify started and why it started.
Please, Jens.
Yeah, so Paxful, I did that for 4.5 years. Then I quit. I co-founded yield aggregator / hedge fund. It was Yield App. Was there for 2 years.
Which was also quite successful.
Yeah, so...
Might be able to...
Yeah, so we went in 2 years from zero to more than $500 million assets under management.
Yeah.
Which is absolutely bonkers, like insane amount of money. Like you're managing $500 million, other people's money, and trying to do DeFi with it. It was very challenging, but it was very good. Okay. During my time at Yield App, I started getting a lot of offers from my other founders, like founder friends and so forth. And there's one big problem in the crypto ecosystem, and that's that everything is closed. You know, like you have to know someone, you have to know XYZ to get into that circle. It's like a very closed circle. No one wants to like really help you. If they don't, they will charge you a lot of money. So I had a lot of founders coming to me and be like, hey, I have this XYZ startup in crypto. I want to sell it. I want to exit. I've been here for 4 years. Basically, I had all these institutional clients I was talking to, and I realized that, hey, there's a big opportunity out there. Like, hey, building a marketplace where you can actually list your different businesses. This is very normal in Web 2. So, for example, there's Empire Flippers, there's Flippa, there's MicroAcquire, there's Acquire.com now. Like, there's also these like different business buying opportunities. But in crypto, there's no. And also fundraising in crypto is very hard.
Yeah.
If you're someone new coming into crypto, who do you go to?
Yeah.
Like there's no place. So I started building this ecosystem called Acquirify. It's basically a M&A marketplace where people can buy and sell crypto companies, and they can also list their own company there to get some money, to raise money, and so forth. It's been the hardest. I can't emphasize this enough. It's been my hardest startup so far. First of all, we got very fucked in the beginning because we were going to get big tickets from 3 Arrows Capital and FTX and other big players. And we had a lead investor. And usually when other entrepreneurs out there, if you don't have a lead investor, you're basically leading yourself. So lead investor usually connects you with a lot of other VCs, and then you get the money that you're raising. Okay, this is in last May. Crypto market first comes, FTX comes, boom. We have no lead whatsoever. So eventually what happened was that I, myself, had to raise capital.
Yeah.
So I had to go to more than 300, 400 different VCs, pitch it, get 299 no's, and then got a couple of yes. Those investors are still with us. But yeah, it's been very hard. It's been super hard. It's basically put me on the knees again and understand like, hey, fuck, entrepreneurs is so hard. Because I had so good success
You've
before.
Been spoiled.
That. Yeah, I was very spoiled. Well, spoiled, but like.
No, of course. What I mean.
I did not have that failure before, and now I actually had like very hard challenges inside of Acquirify. I had first a co-founder that took 4 people and worked for another company. Then I had internal issues, and then I had even the crypto market going against me.
Yeah.
You know, there's not a lot of people buying and selling at the moment. It's like very dry.
No, we contemplated for a while to adding tokens to our avatars,
Yeah.
and everybody we talk to say like, I don't touch anything with crypto.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
but the moment we even mention it in a way, it's like,
Yeah.
I just saw like this person talking. It. The idea that you raised money in that period of time is I can't
Yeah.
emphasize enough.
It was very hard. We raised
Yeah.
almost $2.8 million. Still going, still have that capital, which is good. But for new entrepreneurs, don't give up, for sure. Like
Yeah.
yourself, like don't give up. During bear markets before, like I've seen so many different bear markets so far, at least four like this. And I think the biggest multipliers that you can do is on bear markets.
What is a bear market?
Bear market is basically when the capital flow to crypto goes down a lot and all the prices tank.
Yeah.
And there's no interest at all. Like we see now. Like there's no
Yeah.
interest. It's very hard to pitch.
Yeah.
No one is deploying capital. It's very hard.
Yeah.
But usually, once you survive this, you usually become one of the top players in this industry.
Yeah, I love this saying. I forget who said it. The idea that hard times create
Strong man.
strong men create good times.
Yeah.
And good times create weak men. I just feel
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
like if you can, maybe this applies to entrepreneurship as well.
No, absolutely.
In regards to Acquire FI, what is something that? Why should people go to this place? Who needs to go there in order to accelerate his personal vision? Like, how can people use this in order to?
Yeah, for sure. Like there's applying process. So you have to apply. We
Yeah.
get like, I don't know, more than 30, 40 companies each month now.
Yeah.
Applying for a raise.
Yeah.
We try to be as neutral as possible. We have our own due diligence profiles that we do.
Yeah.
But if you get in, we do have a big network of both VCs, family offices, private equity people that can
Yeah.
help you out. That's with raises. And then on the M&A side, so people coming to us wanting to sell, we have more than 65 companies now for sale, and some of those deals are moving forward.
Yeah.
We can see still that happening.
Yeah.
But the process of getting something sold, it's just getting a little bit more timelier.
Yeah.
Because during a bull run, so when everything goes up and people are like, "Woo, let's invest," you can sell a company in less than 6 weeks.
Wow.
And now it's like at least maybe a year.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very different atmosphere. But yeah, I would say biggest unique selling point is that we have the network,
Yeah.
and you guys are getting mentoring from me. So
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. Great. I'm gonna apply after
should.
this podcast. I will name you by name and send the link. 399 no's, 1 yes. Fundraising. Give us a masterclass on how to raise funds if you haven't acquired the skills of the new technologies. How to do it? How would you give?
Try to learn your pitch as much as possible.
Yeah.
Make it as flowy as possible. And usually the pitches are not like pitches. They're actually like you're just talking to a normal person.
Yeah.
And I think that's the biggest, let's say, yes or no answer will be if you can be as friendly as possible. Like having a conversation like this is much better than you're presenting something like this, going through slide by slide. If you can actually talk with the person, because I can tell you right away, VCs don't care. They care about your character.
Yeah, it's
yeah.
That was something that really inspired me because I'm not a very technical person. So the idea of me explaining AI companies to other people was a challenge because they immediately realize I'm a moron to some degrees in a way. But then I realized that when was the last time where I bought, for instance, a Snickers bar or something and read everything that's in it. And I realized that never happens. Like this is not how people make decisions moving forward. So outside of what is a good pitch? If you would make a mandatory counseling session and every entrepreneur who's currently has a meaningful cool project would turn in, how would you design this hour in regards to teaching them what a good pitch actually is?
I think there's 4 things that like all VCs look at. First of all, the problem. Second of all, the market size. So if the market size is enough big, yes. Third of all, team. fourth is your exit strategy, or hey, how am I gonna get money from this?
Interesting.
Yeah, and if you have an MVP or product, please show it.
Yes, yes. Okay. You have been interviewed many times.
Yes.
And before I move selfishly to the eternity questionnaire, in which I'm going to ask you some roundup questions, what is a question an entrepreneur who wants to be successful, or a man who wants to be better at life in general, should have asked you but hasn't asked already?
From me or
for
personally?
you. For you. It's because I feel like sometimes you, in order to ask the question, you need to conceptualize the problem properly in a way. But it's like, since I'm talking to great people such as yourself, I'm curious, what should I ask?
I would say, what's your way of taking off, like relaxing? Because I think entrepreneurship, it's a full-time, all in. You know, you're always there. You're always thinking. You're always there doing something that supports this narrative or mission. But it is very, very important, I'm telling you this, to shut off and do something else. You know, like you have to have that reminder that, hey, go to a holiday, take a time off.
Yeah.
And it's crazy. In the 90s and in 2000, like the main narrative was like, hey, you have to work 24/7, 24/7, 24/7, 24/7. Unfortunately, that doesn't work. Like you need your creativity.
Yeah.
You need your love life to be very good. You need to be socially very good. I think hanging out with friends, doing what you like is very important. And interviewers, they never ask like, hey, what's your way of taking off? What's your way of laying off? You know?
I love that you just said that. It was a recent discovery for me that I had those toxic habits you just described for a long time. I just fell in love with the idea of completely and romantically sacrificing myself for the benefit of all, even though nobody really cared. You know? But you talk yourself onto those material myths almost in a way. Until I realized with fundraising that it's actually the self-sacrificial image of presenting yourself is actually something that nobody wants. It's like you have to radiate abundance and energy and a good vibe, and people want to do cool shit with cool people, where it's actually important that you take care of yourself physically and spiritually. Right? So I couldn't completely resonate with this.
There's this very famous book for our work week, and I can't remember
Tim Ferriss. He was, shout out to Tim Ferriss. Looking forward to you coming to Bali, be my next guest soon. He was the one who inspired me to do this podcast, actually.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah. Love him. The 4-Hour Work Week. It's a great book. The 4-Hour Chef is also really good for learning. Okay, let's move on to the last section before I let you go. The last section moves a bit in regards to my company, which is focusing on breaking the barrier between time and helping people, for example, to resurrect loved ones or famous people in a way and converse with them. I'm interested in it. So my first question is, if you could resurrect 3 people from history and talk to them, make them members of your board of advisors, what would you do with your new necromantical powers?
That's a good question. I would like to talk with Julius Caesar. He's a very interesting character. I would like to learn more about his charismatic. Alexander the Great. Dude, he was 19 and he conquered almost the whole world. And Genghis Khan, because he's such a badass person.
Conquerors. Why do you feel you want to talk to the most powerful persons in history?
I think they're the most interesting. Because come on, like they all.
I'm currently studying hardcore history about Genghis Khan. It's one of the fucking best podcasts ever made. What would you ask them?
I'm very into history myself, so I would ask like different historic questions, like, hey, how did this really happen? What was your biggest strengths? What was your biggest failures? Like just overall, like what's the life attitude?
I loved it. This is the core mission of what I'm trying to do, is the idea of enabling intergenerational conversations, because these conversations give me so much, but the idea of even that I can just log myself in a room and talk to Caesar, or that in 50 years from now, everybody who accumulated a unique world of wisdom within themselves, with experience, that I can just ask it whatever. I feel it's amazing. In regards to authors, in regards to who you want to talk to, like if you can Take one book and make him your companion for a while with these Apple Vision things that they have just created, and make this something like, who would you either talk to, or who would you choose as a companion in regards to somebody who wrote a book?
This is not an author, but this is a book that is super, super old, and it's the Sumerian tablets.
Oh.
Yeah, Sumerian tablets are like thousands of years old. No one knows like how they got, but the history there is very, very interesting. Like it tells of a big event that happened in Earth. It tells about the gods and different things, and I think historically I would like to learn more.
Yeah.
I'm very into Egyptology.
Oh, me too.
And esoterics.
Me too. Thousands of years ago is still something that is relevant. If we hope, of course not, this happens, the machines take over today, and this is gonna be the last interview that is gonna prevail from you. What is a message you would have for future generations if we would record like a time capsule right now that would survive the test of time and manage to make it into eternity for future generations?
I think like we need more empathy in this world for sure. We need less money. And I think the most important thing that you can learn others is to be empathic and friendly and respectful. And I hope that the future generation still has it. And also curiosity, like being a child, being a kid, don't lose it. That's my advice. I think it's very important.
Beautiful. Last question. If there's a God, you go to heaven and you meet him after your life is over, what do you hope him to say when he meets you?
Welcome.
Thank you so much for being on the show. Tell us, please, also, in the last two questions, how can we help you on your many noble ventures? And where can we find you so that people go over to your channels and support the great things that you're involved in?
Yeah, for sure. I think the biggest help is just to connect with me. I'm very open to all curious, let's say curious entrepreneurs there with different ideas. You can always hit me up on LinkedIn. You can always hit me on Twitter.
For people who only listen to these episodes, where is this?
You mean on Twitter or where?
Tell us your Twitter and your LinkedIn.
Yeah,
I'm going to put this in the show notes as well, but for those who only listen.
It's very hard. It's Jan, Jan, Web3S. Yeah.
I will put, okay, guys, you have to watch the show notes. Okay, great. It was an honor to have you on the show today. I know
thank you, Daniel,
for
having me here. Very good questions.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Trying to get better listening as well. For everybody who listens out there, it was a tremendous honor that you invested your time and energy into learning from this great expert together with me, and I hope to see you in the next episode again, which will be next week. Thank you so much.
Thank you.